Hello and welcome into a new episode of the Three Fever Point After podcast. I'm Alex Anderson here with Bossier offensive coordinator Jeff Harper. We went no guest this week because we got a lot to talk about.
Yes, sir.
It is a big week for high school football, the penultimate week of the regular season. And before we get to the feast of football that we have for us, go back to last week a bit. Nothing too crazy. I mean, the best game obviously happened at Parkway, right? Parkway and Captain Shreve. Hoping the Panthers hang on to this unbeaten record before that Evangel game, but Shreve gave them quite the scare.
Yeah, well, I mean, Shreve's really a talented team, and the Plater kid's probably the best running back in the area. Yeah. They're opportunistic on both sides of the ball. Even if they're not getting big stops, they can generate some turnovers. They're good on special teams. So I wasn't really surprised by the outcome as far as the score or how close it was. Parkway's been pushed at times this year, but they found a way to outscore teams, and so them getting the last drive, putting it, instead of going tempo, slowing the game down, and then getting in field goal range is just good execution by the team.
Well, for so many years they had Aaron Burrell, and it was an automatic field goal. You bring the freshman in for the game winner. What do you say to a kid like that before he goes out there?
Well, in that moment, I mean, you don't want to spook him, but you want the kid to realize, man, you make this, the game's over.
Right.
So I think that they had all the confidence in the world in him, and ultimately, the kid made the biggest kick of his career. So it's pretty cool.
Awesome stuff. Great scene out there at Parkway. And then on the other side, you have Evangel, who the score was obviously lopsided in the end, but Houghton hung in there with them probably more than most people thought. It was 22-20 for a while. Houghton took the lead before that. Good effort by the Bucks, but Evangel just looks really good. Yeah,
I mean, they're the best team, I think, in this area, between them and North Dakota. So ultimately, not surprised by the outcome, but I was genuinely surprised with how well Houghton, played with them and scored points. So, they're getting the job done over there on offense, no doubt about it.
And I was a little confused when I turned on the stream of that game just to check on things. I was first snap I saw, I thought that Pop Houston was lining up to punt the ball. No, just a 10-yard drop there in the shotgun. We were talking off air, something that Evangel's done in the past.
Yeah, when Berlin was playing, I can remember they would, it looked like he was in the position to punt.
Right.
And they'd have a deep snapper snap it back there, and he would catch it. And now you really can't get a pass rush. You know what I mean? When you're that deep, you don't really get a pass rush, and by the time you do, he's already been able to step up in the pocket.
Right.
So I mean, it's just one of the things that Evangel can do against you, and they do it really well because they're the ones that kind of came up with it. So I've seen it in the past, and I've seen it on film this year, and it does buy a lot of time for Pop to be able to make his reads and run around back there, make somebody miss in the secondary, or somebody come open late across the field. So it works for them.
Yeah,
really good at
it. You give a guy like Pop extra time too. That's obviously what you're trying to do. So so that's still in a couple weeks from now. One game I did want to we had our game of the week, Red River. Huge win for those guys, and now they're the biggest Manny fans out there.
Yeah, they need Manny to win that Mansfield game. But congrats to the Dogs. I know that's one. They've got it 2 years in a row.
Yep.
And I think they've been beneficiaries of some down years at Manny. But the one thing that Hassel, head coach that Manny's got going, is he's rebuilding the culture, and he's got the kids playing and believing. And I heard him on the radio this week, and he was clear. Red River played well. They turned the ball over too many times, and when you turn the ball over, you can't win. And it was Red River's homecoming, and that's an interesting environment. It's always really fun. So they do homecoming right, and I'm excited that the Bulldogs got that win on homecoming in front of the fans.
Certainly makes things a little more interesting in that league too. And it was funny you mentioned the support that they have in Coshada. You don't really ever see support in our game of the week at another game, but I was at Calvary Huntington, and Coach Bachman was there in his Red River sweater.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, "You better make sure they know I'm rooting for my Bulldogs tonight." Yeah. I was like, "All right, we got you, Coach, we got you." And that was another game, Calvary and Huntington. Really, I mean, especially at the beginning, great game, and they were going back and forth, but Calvary looks like Calvary.
And Hudson got to throw it a little more than
he did,
does.
certainly.
He was airing that thing out.
They must listen to us.
No, I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think that they really got, some games there on the schedule that they're going to get ahead pretty quick, and so Coach Guin wants to get other guys reps just to make sure they have game experience. But that's a perfectly timed big game for them before they get in the playoff stretch. So congrats to Huddy and the Cavs.
They wanted to be pushed, and when Huntington had that turnover, our top play of the night, kid just ripped it out of the running back's arms and took it the other way. It was like, uh-oh. I mean, because they stuffed them in a couple drives. It felt like, okay, Huntington's here to play, and they look good too, but Calvary's just tough. The other game I did want to talk about, it was a little shocking. Ruston did not have the magic again against Ash, and that district just got a lot more interesting too.
I mean, isn't West Monroe at the top of they're the top, they're the number one team in 5A, in the non-select, and North
DeSoto beat them.
That district normally it historically has been West Monroe's district. And every now and then you get a really good Ouachita team that can run up on you. And then you had the emergence of Ash, Neville, and Ruston winning the state championship and being in the state championship. So it's always fun to see the outcomes of those games because that is a very competitive district. Yeah,
it was interesting. I mean, you thought that maybe it was going to go the same way as the Neville game went, where they got down, they came back. They were up 20-7 before in the second quarter, and then they were trailing at the half. Bad turnover,
but West Monroe Ruston's week 10, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be
that'll be the one. But certainly crazy that the way that went down. All right, let's talk about it. Game of the week, easy choice, undefeated versus undefeated. North DeSoto hosting Loyola. We have hoped that this would be the case when we got to week 9. And we got it. Both teams kept winning, and I'm fired up.
Yeah. Well, I know these two teams very well. They're in our district. Loyola is a junior-heavy team. They had a lot of young guys start last year, and I think they're better this year than they were last year, not just because they're undefeated, but in all three phases of the game, they're just sound. They don't make a lot of mistakes. Now, Bryce is coming off his first 4 turnover game, I think, of his career. Right. And I don't expect that to continue this week by any means. But I think that they have been really good all year long, and they've been consistent in the areas of the ball game that will get you beat. They don't really make a lot of mistakes. Listening to Sella today, he was talking about how really one of the interceptions was Bryce's fault. The rest of them were tip balls. They were there was something that caused the turnover. So they're going into an environment with North DeSoto that's very opportunistic on defense. They're going to give them a lot of different looks. North DeSoto's, a fast and wide team, so they're going to spread you out. They're going to have a 7-man box with wide splits, and they're going to go as fast as they can. And Loyola is a very tempo team. They can go really fast. When they're hitting on all cylinders, they're hard to stop too, but it's going to come down to which defense gives up the big play. Right. Loyola doesn't give up a lot of big plays. You've got to go sustain drives to score on them. And they don't think that you can do that for 4 quarters. Yeah. And North DeSoto is the same way. So there's really no weaknesses when it comes to, who's better on paper. I do think, according to what I've seen on the field this year and on film,
here we go.
I do think that Loyola has a chance.
Yeah,
I think Loyola has a chance. Now, I'm this isn't my, I'm not making a pick here. What I'm saying is, I think Loyola has a chance to go in there, and they can make it tough because they're hard to stop.
Yeah,
and I don't really know if anybody has just been able to go drive for drive against North DeSoto.
Yeah,
and I really think that Loyola can do that. I think you could see, and I know people are going to think I'm crazy when I say this, but I think you could see an Evangel-Shreve type shootout.
Wow.
I just do. Loyola's that good. They're that good across the board at all skill positions. Mason Drake is a beast in the backfield. Bryce can sling it all over the yard. And they're winning by, 30, 40 points every Friday night. And it's over with by the middle of the third quarter most of the time. Same thing with North DeSoto. So I think you're going to get 2 teams that get to play 4 quarters against each other, and watch out.
Yeah, and I do want to just give a shout out to Skip in the back. Whatever he's eating right now smells incredible. I'm starving, so thank you, Skip. But for me, when I think about this matchup, it's hard for me. Loyola's so fun, right? Mm-hmm. This is new.
Yeah.
They're, we haven't seen this from them in a long time.
Since 2016.
Right. So we've been caught up in this in a bit. We had Bryce on. I mean, for good reason. North DeSoto, it's almost like we're just used to seeing how good they are. But this team particularly, in my opinion, could be the best they've had in this era.
I agree.
And that's really good.
They got 2 really good backs. They've got great receivers. Their offensive line play is really good. They're good on defense. Josh James is the DC, and he's dialing up stuff. He's hard to game plan for. He doesn't really have a lot of tendencies. And so, we play them next week. I've already started dabbling, just looking at what we're going to have to deal with. And so Loyola is going to present challenges because they throw the ball so well and they screen so well. Now, I think that North DeSoto is the best team in this area. I just think they're sound in all 3 phases of the game, and they're really good on defense. Where Evangel can go out and outscore you, sometimes that defense can be suspect.
Right.
This year they're way better than they were last year.
For sure.
And they could shut you down. And Byron Dawson's kid there at nose is a stud. But everywhere you look on North DeSoto's defense, they're rarely out of place. They're fitting their gaps. They play the run well. They play the pass well. They bring pressure. They create turnovers. I mean, Northwood is one of the best teams that we've played up to this point. And if you ask me, Loyola or Northwood, I think Loyola's just better offensively.
Yeah.
I think Northwood's better defensively. They get to play that game week 10. Northwood, caused some problems for North DeSoto, but North DeSoto just is unstoppable at times. And so Northwood is not Loyola in the fact, personnel-wise, Loyola doesn't have some of the speed on the back end.
Yeah.
And that's where they can't get beat. Like, if they let the receivers from North DeSoto run loose, they're going to have a field day.
Yeah.
Where North DeSoto makes their money, though, is running the ball.
Absolutely.
And everybody thinks North DeSoto is a pass team.
Well, because Luke, I mean, obviously.
It is a run-first scheme. They are going to run the ball. They got 2 good backs, and they're letting Luke pull it too. And so he causes problems when he can balance out the numbers when he starts pulling the ball down. So it's an interesting 3-team race for the district championship in 1-4A. I think North DeSoto's got the edge. I think Loyola is right there and can really create some problems for North DeSoto.
Yeah, and these 2 weeks critical for Loyola. I mean, I kind of wish that the schedule would have been a little different. We would have seen that Northwood Loyola game first.
Yeah.
But it's not what we got.
But if Loyola goes in and upsets North DeSoto, Northwood is playing Loyola for a share of the title.
Right. So that would be crazy. I mean,
crazy.
Yeah, because it's so, and Coach Brown said it, after that North DeSoto loss. It was our game of the week. Gosh, it feels like forever ago now. And he said, hey, this thing is not over. It feels like it's the end because you don't want to lose to those guys. But
they're really good. Northwood is really good. Loyola, really good. North DeSoto, great.
Yep.
Now this is where you get in that great conversation.
Absolutely.
If you're Loyola, and they're wanting it. I mean, they are excited about the opportunity. And so that's the one, I'm considering going to the game because we play Thursday night.
Heck yeah.
I'm thinking about making the trip. It's going to be an opportunity to watch 2 really good football teams in our area, both that will make deep runs in the playoff.
Well, if you do go down there, make sure you have a little Wi-Fi hotspot for Daniel. Maybe he can hop on that.
I got you,
It's going to be tough. But Daniel, luckiest guy in the world. He gets a front row seat to this amazing game. We're so excited for it. And just hearing to talk about it, I wish we could play it right now.
It's going to be fun.
I'm ready to go. Outside of that, I mean, obviously, that is the game. But I do want to mention, this is not the only district championship, quote-unquote, type game that we have. I know this is Texas, kind of out of your wheelhouse, but we've got Wascom and Elysian Fields. In Texas, I would say it is equivalent to a North DeSoto Northwood type deal. They're not far apart on the map. They do not like each other. It's like a Haynesville-Homer situation. Sure. So that'll be a ton of fun. Gladewater and Atlanta, they'll be up in the Texarkana area at Atlanta playing for first place, both unbeaten in district. We're getting to this time of year.
Yep.
It's the time of year you wait for, right? And I was thinking about this just on my own because I think about high school football on my own. Do you kind of compartmentalize it into 2 seasons, like this district race is your championship right now, and you worry about the playoffs when you get there?
Yeah. I mean, I think every team does that, whether or not you're competing for a district championship. If you know that a playoff berth is on the line, that's the only game that matters. Yeah. For any coach, that's what you're looking at is how can we extend our season and then continue to get better. And so, teams that are on the bubble for the district championship, you got to take those as they come because, ultimately there is no championship game, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless you're just lucky and you have two undefeated teams at the end. But, every single game at this point is setting you up for whether or not you're going to have the opportunity to play week 11 and then ultimately week 12. And so at this point right now, like with us at Bossier, we're focused on Woodlawn and that's it.
Yeah.
Our goal is if we beat Woodlawn, we're in.
Right.
And that's what we've been preaching our kids. And it happened to us last year. Went and played Woodlawn, and they beat us, and they were in, right? And so that's what's happening in field houses, in locker rooms, in meetings. This is what is being discussed. It's a one game season this point forward. You're really just trying to get them focused on. Don't think ahead. There's no more thinking ahead. You got really one game at a time, and there's only 2 games scheduled left on the season.
Yeah, and it's so fascinating because you look at. We're going to obviously focus so much on these first place battles, but when you look at all these games, you mentioned you and Woodlawn. That's a huge game.
Huge game.
I mean, it determines the fate of 2 teams right there.
Yeah.
Obviously for like a team like North DeSoto, not going to the Dome is a huge failure.
Yeah, that is their goal.
For Bossier, making the playoffs is a huge win.
Well, I mean, it lends credibility to what Gary has established at Bossier High School.
Right.
He's an alum. He got there. They were winless, and then we get a 3-7 record last year. We were 2-8 on the field. We had a forfeit, and then the year before that, I think they won 1 game. So, every year it's getting better. But ultimately, when you have an opportunity to go to the playoffs, you cement that. Hey, this is a stamp of we're building something here, and we have a postseason berth to prove that. So that's one of the good things about our select, non-select, and having multiple opportunities because teams now, that are on the bubble that have really tough schedules like we do. A 4-6 season does not mean that it's a bad season when you get to extend it by a week.
Right.
And so for us, it's everything. It's the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
And I would say it's the same thing for Loyola. It's the same thing for North DeSoto. It's the same thing for Parkway and Benton this week.
Yeah.
Parkway wants the opportunity to complete a 10-0 season and win a district championship. Oh, by the way, go win it at Evangel where we haven't won.
Yep.
And so I say we, being Parkway alum, I've watched us with the Feaster teams go over there and just get boat raced.
Yeah.
And this is the one Parkway team that I think could give Evangel fits because they can score. They have the special teams abilities, but they're really good on defense too. So Parkway Benton this week being a trap game.
Yeah.
And
right.
listen, and I look, everybody that has watched this or listened to us over the years, Reynolds Moore is a friend of mine, right? Terrence Smith used to be his OC. Terrence Smith is now our pass game coordinator at Bossier. Reynolds is not on the sidelines this Friday night. Reynolds made that game extremely difficult for Parkway because it was week 9 or 10, and he would sneak up, and Parkway's usually undefeated at this point,
Yep.
Or close, maybe a 1-loss, 2-loss, and they would pull off this upset win. I don't think Coy Brotherton and his staff let that even come close to happening. I think that they are going to have their foot on the gas all night long, and they're going to score as many points as possible to keep Benton at bay. Even if they go late in the fourth quarter knowing this game's over, it's not running up the score because Benton could score a little bit, right? And Malachi's legit. So I'd say that this is a little bit different Benton Parkway matchup because it's the Stephen Dennis era. But Reynolds, man, he game planned so well. And it's sad because, I've always enjoyed watching Reynolds go and go against a guy like Coy or an Austin Brown, or even watching him when they were down there playing in New Orleans against Isidore Newman. Like, he just does a really good job. And this is a game where Parkway Benton at the end of the year always shocked everybody by the outcome.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I don't expect that this time around. I think that Parkway does everything they can to make sure that game is comfortably in hand and secure their district championship week 10.
Yeah, so we hope Parkway hangs on for the sake of the matchup, right?
Yep.
And then Evangel, doesn't really matter what happens to them this week, but I would assume they don't want to go in on a sour note. They go to Lafayette Christian. Not easy for the Eagles there.
No, but I think that Evangel's going to pose so many problems for Lafayette Christian that they're going to They may wish they didn't schedule that game. I mean, you just never know.
Right.
But it is a road game, right? They're having to go down there, so that's tough. At the end of the day, I think they're going to want to win that game. I think that's Evangel, the little E's on the helmet. It's the standard. But the game that matters is the next week.
Absolutely. So it's so interesting, the games within the games, right? I mean, we want to look ahead for obvious reasons, but then you can't. If you're Parkway, you cannot look ahead.
No.
Or if you're any of these teams that are hoping for a shot at district, I mean, you look at Manny, they can't drop. They're going to, they're at home this week. They can't lose one. Mansfield, they're at Lakeside. They can't lose that. I mean, it is, every game is so critical this time of year. I did want to ask you just about Airline, right? Obviously, they're not going to win this district, but I feel like the way Kenny Darby's playing, everything he's doing, this is a team that could, first round, pull off an upset or something like that.
Oh, there's no doubt. I think people look at Airline and they see them the same way they've seen them the last 4 years with Ben Taylor slinging the rock. That's not fair to this group.
Right.
Chase Williams is not Ben Taylor. He's his own style of player. And Kenny just causes problems wherever they put him. Put him at tailback, stick him in the slot, stick him outside. You can't stop him. I mean, he literally is what Montreville is to us. He is for Airline. He is their best player, and it's not close. I mean, he's just that good. And anybody that thinks that they can just scheme a team up, when you have a legitimate D1 kid on that's the team you're about to play, you have no idea what to expect because that kid can do so much. I mean, they're just that much better. And that's Kenny. Kenny's just unbelievable. So no one has stopped him all year, really.
Yeah.
And I don't expect it to start now, the last 2 weeks of the season. I do think that if they get in the playoffs, they're gonna make them. I could see them going to the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Just wherever you fall in that power rating is where that bracket's set up. I mean, you just never know.
Yeah, and obviously we're going to spend so much time breaking down those brackets as we always do. A lot to look forward to. But yeah, Airline's a team. You look at what Darby's stats from last week at Natchitoches Central, and my goodness, he did everything. He's catching, he's running, he's kickoff returns. I mean, any way you can get a touchdown, he's finding a way. And it was really, really fun to watch and talk about. Anything else that's standing out to you this week? Because I do want to ask you a little LSU. So anything else high school-wise that's really kind of
No, I
out
think
to you?
that it comes down to, these teams doing everything they can to set themselves up for a playoff run. And so, some games may not matter week 10. And so you'll see, I think, a lot of teams doing everything they can to make sure they put opponents away and get the win, get out of there healthy if they can, for that week 10, close out the season. Because many people right now, I mean, they're sitting – if our local teams around here, we have a lot, like even Northwood, I think they're top 5 in the power rating.
Right, yeah.
And that's in Division I non-select. So there's a lot of teams that, like Minden, they're sitting pretty right there, middle of the pack. They could jump with another big win. So BTW is another one. There's just a lot. There's a whole lot going on in our area where you can't give any ground, and these next 2 weeks are going to be really exciting to watch.
And yeah, long story short, if you're playing a game Friday night, winning is very important.
That's it. It's the only thing that matters.
Well, it is also the only thing that matters at LSU, as we've learned. They showed Brian Kelly the door, middle of his 4th season. Look, when LSU is going through a coaching thing, it's the greatest soap opera in the South, right? It's, you got reporters down in Baton Rouge camping out in the bushes to get the video of Kelly leaving the facility. Just madness down there. For me, and we talked about it, Daniel and I talked a lot about it on the Benchwarmer show, it just never felt like the right fit.
No, I remember you and I having this conversation over Zoom.
Yeah.
Because I'm a Notre Dame fan too. LSU was not relevant when I was growing up, but NBC, there was always a Notre Dame game on Saturday. Yeah. So I grew up around watching, the Gold Domers play. Like that's my team. And I love LSU. Don't get me wrong. My daughter goes to school there. I love LSU. I'm a big LSU fan. And so I did never think that was a great fit because he was following Coach O.
Right.
And Coach O is so likable, so personable. He had the hour of power on Thursdays and Fridays where he knew your opponent, and he had everybody in the football ops building calling high school coaches, and he would jump on the phone and wish you luck or congratulate you for the last win. And then, you get a phone call, and then the next week you get a handwritten card from him. That's hard to follow, man. Yeah. I mean, that's just hard to follow. And I felt like Coach O got ran out of town because of a 6-6 season, when in reality he was 40-9.
Yeah.
And he didn't have the 2019 roster. They were all playing in the NFL. So I think that Brian Kelly had the best resume. I think that he was smart, and his agent and his attorneys were smart in writing the contract to where we're going to make it hurt if you want to run us off. Here's my problem, all right? This is my issue. We're going to pay that guy at least half, if not more, of that buyout to not work.
Right.
I don't know how we've gotten to this point, but let him finish the year and then figure it out. It doesn't help to cut him loose during the season. And I know LSU has turned into a program that if you're not winning and you're not winning with style points,
or the governor, I should say.
You're going to get run out of town. So if that's what you do to Brian Kelly, why would anybody want that job?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just asking why. If I was in that situation, which I never will be, I don't know if I'm what they do to your predecessor, they will do to you.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So it's at the end of the day, like I just.
It happens to every.
I'm not for
every coach.
Let him finish.
Every college coach that's not named Nick Saban.
Yeah.
They're going to come for you at some point.
And at some point, like if you say in the contract that he has all operational oversight, including his staff, and the AD comes in and says, "Hey, we want you to fire your play caller," and it's in his contract that he has oversight over the staff, and he wants that guy to stay in place. Because he knows that if he has to change play callers, there's going to be a learning curve, and he's trying to win right now. Their offensive line's terrible.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you watch this week, they'll come out, and everybody's going to expect this brand new version. But if you just watch the game within the game, watch the box play, it's going to come down to now. They don't have any tendencies on Atkins calling plays unless they go back and watch Florida State, right? It's not the same offense. But if you watch just in the box, LSU's offensive line, they've recruited nothing but tackles. So you got tackles playing center and guard too. They just do not get any push, and they struggle in one-on-one matchups, and teams are forcing the issue to where they can create problems with one-on-one matchups. They know they're going to win them. That's all Texas A&M was doing. They were coming off the edge, and they were bringing guys late. There's no way you can block that if you can't win in the box. Like, they're just not winning. And so that's problem number one. Yes. Did Brian Kelly have oversight over his roster? Yes. Has he spent a ton of money recruiting resources on 5-star talent, 4-star talent at the offensive line position? Yes. He's responsible for the roster, right? But at the end of the day, they came in and pushed the issue on him. Hey, we want you to let Joe Sloan go. And he's like, nah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I'd rather make other changes. Well, I thought that was the beginning of the end, which it proved to be true.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, hey, look, if you're not going to listen to us, we're going to run you off. If that's Lane Kiffin, they'll do the same to him.
Yeah.
If that's you get some young up and coming guy,
Tulane guy, some wrong.
Yeah, some wrong. Like, people, this kind of stuff gets out, and this will be in the next contract, and it will be attached to money. All right, and hey, you don't let me do this, you don't let me do that. Here's my buyout. This is the only way that I'm leaving. At some point, LSU needs to really look at and evaluate. We're paying more money for guys not to work than we are people on our staff. Like, that's a problem.
Yeah.
It's got to stop. They got to fix that, and they got to fix it fast.
And how much incentive? Obviously you've coached at a competitive level, unlike me. I know we're talking money that is inconceivable to both of us.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
How much of an incentive do you have to do a good job when, man, you could get fired in a couple years and we're good?
No, you have an incentive because if you're a head coach, the win-loss record goes next to your name.
Right.
No one really knows that feeling. You don't understand that feeling as an assistant coach. You don't understand that feeling as a youth coach. You don't understand that feeling unless you are a head coach. And I remember, Reynolds, saying in 2020, everybody has opinions until the W or the L goes next to your name.
Right.
And it made a lot of sense because I left there and went to be a head coach when I never really wanted to be a head coach. And you're right. He was right. Wins and losses matter. And so there's incentives because it's your legacy as a coach.
Right.
You're judged by the wins and losses. And you could do some of your best coaching when you're losing.
Yeah.
And some of, when you have a lot of talent, sometimes it's not real hard to game plan because you're just better than everybody else. But at the college level here, this has turned into professional football.
100%.
And it's all it is. And these guys are having to navigate a lot. But watching LSU, we were down there for the game. My daughter, my son were there. It was her birthday. Eli got to sit in the student section with her.
Awesome.
And they were chanting. And Eli said you could just tell the coaches on the sidelines, they were fighting. You could just tell there was all kinds of problems. You could read, Brian Kelly's lips when he's yelling at Joe Sloan in the headset. Like you knew what he was saying. It seemed like there was a major disconnect with the coaching staff and Coach Kelly. Like you could see that. You saw that with the special teams. You saw that with Blake Baker on the sidelines. I think that that's tough. That's one of those dynamics where you have to work closely together. But everybody has an opinion of who Brian Kelly is. I don't know him. I would never speak ill about a guy. But at the end of the day, man, what you do now is ultimately what you're going to do in the future. And every single coaching candidate's looking at that going, right. And I watched Brian Kelly get a $50-something million buyout. And so we're not coming for less than what he got.
Yep.
Lane Kiffin's not coming to Louisiana.
Yeah.
He's made it clear, like, who wants to live in Louisiana? Now, Lane messes around.
Yeah, but
if he comes, he's coming with a price tag that is going to make him the highest paid college coach, and he is going to have a 10-year contract, and it's going to be a $150 million buyout or whatever it may be. And LSU does not need to do that.
I don't think LSU needs a name.
No.
I think they need to find the right guy. Because Kelly, they went with, you said, the name and the resume. And, I mean, from the moment he walked into the PMAC and did that fake Southern accent, it was just not the right fit.
No.
He's just not an LSU.
And people will say, and that's the knock on the South, he's not a Southerner, right? Guys that aren't from the South don't do well here. That's not true.
It's not.
Nick Saban did well, right? Nick Saban did really well.
Right.
Urban Meyer did really well at Florida. So I don't buy any of that. I just think that now you run off a coach that has the record that he had. And you weren't happy with the job he was doing.
He did a lot of it himself with his words, right? I mean, what did he say last year? We're taking receipts. We'll see you in the national championship.
Yeah.
And they're not even close to a national championship. They're not close to a playoff team.
But he paid that, the big NIL money to bring in all these guys. The issue that they had was defense the year before, but they had NFL caliber offensive linemen.
Right.
Now those guys are in the NFL and they don't have NFL caliber offensive linemen. I don't even know if they have an SEC first, second, or third team guy on the roster. So ultimately, I think that LSU needs to just stop, find the best candidate, and don't strap yourself financially to where people can't afford to go to the games. You can't afford to do anything at LSU because you have all this buyout money and you have a new coach coming. Because they're not going to win right away next year. I know people think that NIL changed all of it. It did, but still, it's not like you can buy every single roster spot to make you an instant contender.
It doesn't work in the NFL.
No.
And it's the same concept at this rate, right?
Yep.
And you see teams go sign guys all the time, and it doesn't work. I mean, the Saints, they've had a few years like that where it's like, oh, this has got to be it. Yeah. It's not. So, I mean, there's a lot more that goes into it outside of just throwing money at the ball.
Well, here's the thing, too. Nick Saban's not coming out of retirement.
No.
All right?
That'd be awesome.
He left because of the NIL. He doesn't want any part of it.
Right.
The only way they could get him out of retirement is if he literally woke up one morning and just missed football so bad that he's willing to deal with the very thing that drove him out of football, right? I just don't know at his age if he's going to want to do that. They're not going to go get John Gruden because John Gruden's going to come with a price tag they can't afford.
Yeah.
That would be great, and I hope.
So fun.
I hope I'm
wrong. Talk about a fit.
He's a fit.
Great fit.
He would be great. But let's be honest now. You see how hard he is on quarterbacks in the NFL. Imagine college game. So there's got to be some adaptability to his scheme and stuff. He's really, really football smart. So you're dealing with college-age kids. And how much do you really want to recruit? How much do you want to be on the road, right? So there's that. Marcus Freeman's not leaving Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah.
The guy's, he's got it made there. Lane Kiffin, I don't see Lane Kiffin leaving Ole Miss.
Neither do I.
I just don't. I don't think he wants to pack his son up.
Why start over? They're doing. I mean,
they're already better than LSU.
Yeah, exactly.
They're already better, and they've beaten LSU. So I don't see Lane leaving. If he does leave, I could see him leaving. For a job that would be, more appealing, kind of like a Florida job, but then they did the same thing to Billy Napier.
Yeah.
So I don't think that LSU, I think he's the perfect guy for the job. I think he's the perfect, I just don't see him leaving, going there. Then it comes down to who knows who they get. And so this begs the question, if you don't get a Kiffin, a Saban, a Urban Meyer, one of those, that all these people are dropping these names, John Gruden, was it worth firing Brian Kelly?
Right.
Like, really? If you're not even going to consider bringing Coach O back. I mean, hey, Coach O, you got all the partying and all the fun stuff out of your system. Are you ready to get back to – I'm ready to go. Like, could you imagine?
That would be the best.
Could you imagine? Like, that guy was the face of Louisiana football.
For sure.
And to me, I'm always going to be a Coach O advocate just because he was so good to the high school coaches.
All right, well, that's all we got today. Thanks as always for hanging out with us here, Coach. Enjoy the game and best of luck this Thursday, man.
Appreciate you, bro.
Thanks for hanging out with us here on the 3 Fever Point After podcast. You can catch Southern Classic Chicken's Friday Football Fever each and every Friday night at 10:30 on KPXJ.